My name is Dominique Mohammed. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Portland, Oregon. And this past year, I've faced and defeated one of the toughest battles that I've ever faced in my life. When I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4. I'm gonna bring on fellow cancer survivors to show you guys not only that you can beat any cancer, but that you can beat your zombie, whatever that is in life.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beast vs. Zombie. Before we get started, make sure to go follow on all social media platforms at Beast vs. Zombie. Follow on YouTube and Spotify so you can see the full videos. And check out the website BeastvsZombie.com for all merchandise. All proceeds go to cancer research. So today I have a special guest with me, Miss Alecia Thomas. She has a
Hi.
wonderful story overcoming cancer. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.
So,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, of course. So, um, let's get right into it. I want
hmm
to start kind of with the end in mind is what I've been doing. And
hmm
so I want to ask how you felt when you got to a point where you were given the news from your doctors that you would beat cancer.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. It was probably like, aside from having my kids, it was like the best day. It was the best day because yeah, I didn't think I was gonna beat it. So it was a stress reliever. Like, I was so stoked at my medical team. So yeah, it's something that it was a day that like seems like it took forever to get to, but I was definitely stoked.
Yeah, that's good. I'm so glad. I know when I got the news finally, I um I felt amazing. I was so happy. And then like right for me, like 3 years later it came back. So then when I beat it again, I was even more, like you said, like ecstatic and so happy. One of the best days of my life for sure. And so
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say that.
yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody that's like going through a challenge in their life? Whether that be like health issues, work problems, whatever that might be, what kind of advice would you give them to help overcome their challenges?
I would definitely say deal with your challenges. Don't let your challenges deal with you. I think that we get in this mode when things are bad. We're just like, because we don't see the tunnel, we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we get in this mind frame to where we think we have to sit in the badness or the negativity or whatever it is. And it's like we let it become us. I know at least that's what I did with cancer. Like, in like the peak of my cancer, I'm just like, well, this is who I am. I'm a cancer patient. I got so depressed. I started letting cancer defeat me. And, I kind of like had to just shake it and get in the mind frame of like, I have cancer. I'm not cancer. So for anybody that's going through anything, I literally would just say strive through it. Like, it's not the end. It's only the end if you give up. Like, if you keep going and you tell yourself you're going to beat it, you're going to overcome it, you're going to do it, whatever the case may be, you're going to do it. You may not know how, but it's going to get done. Like, if your mind is set for it, it's going to get done.
Yes, I believe in that. I thank you so much for sharing that. I really believe that. I always tried to find a sense of normalcy through the whole situation, like playing basketball, hanging out with my friends, eating food, just
Right.
doing normal stuff, going on hikes. That was the
hmm
way that like still made me feel like I said, like you said, like I didn't want cancer to define me. I
Right.
didn't want it to just be this thing. And I really like what you said to not to like never give up, to not quit, to not
Yeah.
not be defeated. And that's with anything in life. That's not just with cancer, right? And
Right.
the best part, what I like what you said is sometimes you don't know how, right? I like the song Travis Scott,
Right.
like he says, stop trying to be God, right? Like you're not God, like you
Right.
don't know the future. right? And so sometimes
Exactly.
you got to be able to like lean into that like unknown, but really you understand what you want.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part,
Right.
right?
It
And
really is. I think that like as humans, it's natural for us to be scared of the unknown. So it's like, okay, if you're going through something and you don't know how you're going to get through it, you don't even understand like why you have to go through stuff. Like, I know I looked at cancer and I'm like, I've been a good person like my whole life. Like, I've tried to do good by everybody. So, like, why do I deserve it? And really, it's not even something that I feel like was deserving. I appreciate the lesson of what cancer taught me. So it's like, even though it's like this beast, I call cancer like this ugly beast. So it's like this really ugly beast, but you could get such a beautiful outcome from it. And I think that's kind of what I took from it. Like, again, I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but now that I'm at like the winning side of cancer, everything I went through was like well worth it. So
yeah.
yeah, like just hold on, like don't let it beat you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love that so much. That's crazy you said it felt like a beast. And that's like the name of the podcast, Beast vs. Zombie. Basically, the way I came up with the name, I was on the phone with one of my buddies, and he was like, "Man, you're a beast, right?" And it just like clicked in my mind, and I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's the name." And like when I was going through all of this, like I felt like a
Hmm.
zombie. I felt like the challenge
Yeah.
and what I was going through, I felt like a zombie, and so that's where the whole name comes from, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah,
You
so.
know, it's actually very fitting, especially when you explain it like that, because yeah, like when you make it through something, you're just like, yo, I just beasted that. But when you're on it, that's exactly how I felt. Like I felt like a zombie. Like I was just here and just this thing was just eating at me. And it was whether are you stronger or am I stronger? Like, so
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely think the name is absolutely fitting.
Yeah, thank you. And man, like you said, like it was weird when you get diagnosed, you kind of feel like, why me, right? Like you say, like you a good person. I know you good people's because Alexis and them is good people's. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Shout
So
out Alexis.
yeah, yeah. And so I know you good people, man. And right, it's like, why do I deserve this? But what I really
Right.
like is like you were able to take it and kind of feel grateful for it. Right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of like a thought process that not everybody can take, you know,
Right.
and really feel like, and I agree with you. There's a lot of
Hmm.
reasons, and I say this sometimes, is like cancer was one of the best things that happened to me. And
Yeah.
it sounds kind of crazy, but there's all these reasons that like I'm grateful for cancer. I started this podcast. It gave me like a
Hmm.
bunch of purpose in my life.
Right.
It really showed me like who is really in my corner, like who would go to war with me and
Oh yeah.
who really kind of just here for the good times or how it
Yeah.
looks or whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? So it
Right.
taught me a lot about myself, really,
Hmm.
and I'm really grateful for that. So I'm glad you pointed that out. That's really cool that you can think about it like that. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. And I think that like if we looked at the glass half full more than we look at it half empty, I think it'll be like a better outcome for like a lot of situations. Because yeah, with cancer, before cancer, I won't say like I didn't value life, but I really didn't understand how precious life is. And how much I actually wasn't living. I was just surviving life. Like, and once I got cancer and actually beat it, I sat there like, hold on, like did I just get a second chance at life? Like, so then a lot of the stuff that I put on the back burner, like projects that I wanted to do, businesses that I wanted to open, things that I was like scared to do. I was like, I didn't get this second chance to do the same thing I did the first time. And so, yeah, like it sparked something in me. Like, it really did. I mean, I graduate tomorrow. I ended up getting my bachelor's. Yeah, like I
Congratulations.
really like locked in and I let cancer be my motivator. And I accomplished stuff that I did not accomplish prior to me being diagnosed with cancer. And so that's why I say, like, yeah, cancer definitely made my life better because like it made me hustle better. It made me a go-getter. It made me a lot of things. Like, but yeah, I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing that you're able to think about it. And congratulations on your
Thank you.
degree. That's so amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
That's man, that's like that's big. Um,
It definitely
so
is.
so what kind of cancer were you diagnosed with?
So I had stage 2 HER2 plus breast cancer. And it was an aggressive form of breast cancer. It mutated from stage 1 to stage 2 literally like in a matter of months. And so when it came to my diagnosis, everything we did, like I was diagnosed June 23rd of 2023. By August, I was already on my second round of chemo. And so, yeah, we didn't really have too much time from the diagnosis to starting treatment. And I want to tell women out there, check yourself because I found my cancer. I didn't go to a doctor and they say, hey, I think you have cancer. I did self evaluations and found out that I had cancer, went to my doctor, and I told him like, "Hey, like I really think I got cancer." He kept telling me, "No, I don't think that's what it is. You're so young. We see this in women who are closer to 50." He kept telling me I didn't have cancer. I pushed for it and I'm like, "Listen, even though you don't think I have cancer, can we check for it?" We checked for it. And while I was getting the mammogram, the technician who did it started crying. And like, I didn't really understand why. And she's like, "What took you so long to come in?" Like, oh my God. Like, she told me I had cancer before we even got the results back. And she went and got the doctor, the oncologist, and when the oncologist felt it, before I even got the diagnosis back, they were just like, "You definitely have cancer." Like you definitely, and I had it was like over 10 lumps and I only had it in my right side, but it was over 10 lumps in my breast. After 10, they stopped counting. They were just like, the breasts have to come off in order for you to survive this. And so that's what it was.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And I've heard this over and over again. So like there's a couple pieces to this, right? Like you're a black woman, you're talking to your doctor,
Right.
they acting like they not hearing you, and you gotta advocate for yourself. So kind of speak on those two parts, right? Because I
Hmm.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So kind of speak to that and just like what what like advocating for yourself like what that means and
Right.
because like if you didn't do that they would have let you die from cancer. You
Yeah.
know
I
like
if if I wouldn't have advocated for myself, I would not be on this podcast with you right now, like telling my story. Because funny thing, right before I touch on that, I was living in Africa when I did the self examination and found the lumps. And if anybody knows about East Africa, I was in Tanzania. They have no cancer research. There is no, you're not beating cancer. And I was all set to live out there until I found this. And so when it comes to advocating for yourself, I always say, and I've heard this too a lot, doctors are to Black women what police are to Black men. And I honestly believe that because I hear many stories about people saying, "Hey, I went to my doctor and they didn't really care whether it's cancer, whether it is some other medical condition, especially like when you're birthing." Um, Doctors do not advocate for Black women. And so we have to learn as Black women how to be professionally disrespectful when it comes to your life. And I mean that by sometimes being the better person, or just trying to say, "Hey, you got your credentials and so like that's enough." No, it's not. It is not. If you feel anything, always get a second opinion. I always tell women, or just anybody in general, don't go to the doctor by yourself, because when they see you by yourself, it's easier to target you. Hey, she doesn't have nobody here to support her. So whatever I say, she's going to go with it. Or they do things like, she does not know her rights. She does not know her benefits that come with her being in this appointment today. She doesn't know that as a doctor, I'm obligated to doing everything I can for her. So when you go into a situation ignorant, you're easy to be taken advantage of. If you feel something, if you feel you have a cough, Google it. Google, what questions should I ask my doctor? What should I know about this condition? Advocate for yourself, or nobody's going to advocate for you. Tell the doctor, you know what? Because I know that there's a lot of women out there who don't like the treatment because it's so harsh. So they want to take the holistic approach. Ask your doctor, because they know about these things. There's enough research out there for them to be able to at least refer you to something, or give you alternate options. One of the things, when I got my diagnosis, I was devastated. My mother was with me. We were both devastated. We were hysterical. The first thing I asked the doctor is, I said, "Am I going to die?" And she laughed. And I'm just like, "Well, what's so funny about this?" She goes, "Sweetie, there's so many different treatments out there. We are going to attack this with as many treatments as we need. There is things, just like how your podcast, the proceeds go towards cancer research. Ladies, gentlemen, there are options. There is never one way. This is not the 50s. This is not this is not pre-research. So speak up for yourself. If there's something that you want to do, you have to understand you're paying these doctors. So whether you decide to do chemo, whether you decide to do holistic approach, or both, do it. Ask them. This is what they get paid for. Never let a doctor tell you that there's no options. Don't be quiet. Be as loud as you be at the cookout. Be like that in your doctor's appointments. Absolutely. So yeah.
Yes. And like you said, like this is not an uncommon thing or a new thing,
Hmm.
and I really appreciate you sharing that, because that is so important to just speak up, because right, like at the end of the day, doctors are still people. No matter
Yeah.
whatever education they have, whatever certificate, whatever degree, whatever qualification and experience that they have or say that they have, they're still human
Hmm.
beings,
Oh
and
yeah.
they can still make decisions and choices based on whatever they think, you know,
Yep.
and they're also not always right. So that I
Oh yeah.
agree with your point that you need to do your own research and you need to Google
Hmm.
or ask around, and read books, find information through credible sources to try and understand what you're going through and not just rely on your doctor. That's a very big part.
Hmm.
For me, like the part that always got me was the doctors or like the nutritionists that I would meet with would always tell me
Hmm.
to just have a healthy, balanced diet. That was the only advice they
Right.
could give me for going through my cancer situation, was just have a balanced diet. And I definitely know there's definitely ways and foods that probably add on to you getting cancer, and there's definitely foods
Oh
that could
yeah.
probably help you get over cancer. And now that I've beaten cancer, there's definitely foods that I can eat that can maybe prevent, but then just help me stay healthy, other than just a balanced diet. So
Oh yeah.
that's a place where I've done a lot of my own research to try and understand the things that I can do, because that's one of the only things I can control is what I'm putting into my
Right.
body, what I'm feeding myself, what I'm consuming as a person, right? And I'm sure
Right.
a lot of the things that's out there is extremely
Hmm.
poisonous for you and causes
Oh yeah.
cancer. You know,
Oh yeah.
like so that's always been something that's been very funny to me that I've always had to just kind of do my own research because they act like they don't know when they definitely
Oh yeah.
know that, you know, they definitely have information on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing that I think people have to consider, right? We don't live in the times where people are really like in tune with nature, and they're more so like on a barter system. Everything nowadays is for profit. So if this doctor tells you, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, you won't even have to come see me. No, they're not going to tell you that because you fund the Ferrari that they just left your appointment in. You funded the vacation he just took his family on. So they're not going to tell you these certain things. And so I think it's very, very important for people to just be more in tune with nature. God did not put us on this planet and give us all this stuff for us to depend mainly on mainstream stuff. You see that they are now allowing cloned meat. How is cloned meat good for you? Just like, even though a lot of people love pork, pork is a food that definitely aids in you getting cancer. If you do like sour sop leaves, that helps decrease cancer. If you go on an alkaline diet, it's hard for disease to live in an alkaline based body. So it's certain things that people have to understand that helps you get cancer and that helps you beat cancer. Another thing that people need to think of maybe 10 years ago. Let's go back 10 years. You didn't see a lot of people being diagnosed with cancer as much as you do today. Every single day, I see at least several posts of people finding out that they have cancer. And then they're like, well, why? Okay, well, look at the food source that we're using. Look at the many different towers and electronics, and all of these things carry vibes and stuff that give you cancer. So
Vibrations.
exactly, more so looking at your surrounding, it'll tell you how you're either got it or how you're gonna beat it. So yeah, just pay attention to nature, guys.
I totally agree. And a lot of that comes with just understanding who you are and like
Hmm.
understanding people, right? Like really getting to the
Right.
core and understanding the science of like actually how your body works, right?
Right.
And man, similar to you, right? Okay, so before I started this podcast, I never realized how many people had cancer, let alone beat cancer,
Right.
right? It seems like everybody I know either has had cancer, knows somebody that's had cancer. It's
Yeah.
it's it's getting more and more extremely common. And even me, like I had cancer when I was 19, right? Like
Right.
I didn't even get to 21 before I had cancer, right? And then they act
Right.
like they can't tell you why. They act like they don't know why. Oh, well, why did I get cancer? How do I prevent this? And oh, we don't know. It's just
Right.
lucky. It's not hereditary. It's not in your genes. It's not for sure. We don't know. I don't know. Okay, but we know how to treat it. Okay. And then
Right.
the craziest thing too is I get posts all the time from other guests and people that I know
Hmm.
and just people that know me in general showing me all these different random, I mean, maybe not random, but all these different ways other than just a simple chemo or a radiation treatment that help somebody beat cancer.
Yeah.
I've even read books and heard stories about people laughing so much and being so happy that they beat their cancer. There's so many different ways, like you were saying, like holistically or in nature or on earth, that outside of just paid prescription pharma
Hmm.
drugs that you pay all this money for that can help you beat your cancer. And that's all it's in a lot of research, right? And
Oh
just
yeah.
because your doctor doesn't use that research to support their treatments, right? There's so much research out there, and it might even be hard to find, right? Because obviously
Right.
for good reason and for a lot of money, they're they're paid
Right.
to keep it at where it's at. So yeah, I totally get that, and it's crazy. Like I said, I never realized or thought that it would be so easy to find
Mhm.
and meet cancer patients and other cancer survivors. Like, is an extremely common thing, and
Yeah.
that's honestly really sad. It's honestly really
Yeah.
sad that people have to go through similar situations like you and I, and some people don't make it. Some people don't
Yeah.
think about it the way we were able to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Some people weren't able to be strong for themselves. Some people, because if you tell somebody, "Oh, I have cancer," they just associate it with death. You ask your doctor, "Oh, am I gonna
All the
die?"
time.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's the first thing that
Yeah.
anybody thinks about. Oh, they have cancer. Oh, they gonna get chemo. They gonna die. That's
Yeah.
that's immediately what we're like programmed and kind of like brainwashed, or what the stereotype
Mhm.
of cancer is just dying, right? And
Yeah.
that's not the case. And like you said, we don't live in a pre-research era. Even
Right.
during my so I had cancer for 10 years.
Oh
I had
wow.
cancer like on and off for 10 years. Like, I had cancer
Mhm.
when I was 19. I beat it in like 4 years. For 3 years I was in remission. Then it came back. Then I had to beat it again. So like all in all, it ended up being like a 10-year like whole thing. But
Right.
so the reason why I bring this up is so in those 3 years when I was in remission, they had done enough research. Well, back. Let me backtrack a little bit. So when I was doing my cancer treatments, I had
Mhm.
a 70% chance of success rate based on
Mhm.
research and based
Wow.
on the treatment that they had given me, and I was the 30% that was not in that success rate. I still had cancer after
Right.
those treatments. So then we're getting to like an unknown space now. We're getting to a place
Right.
where, like, okay, we're gonna try this. Okay, we're gonna try that. Okay, this, that. It still wasn't working.
Mhm.
So then research showed, while during that time, research showed they had came out with an immunotherapy treatment that
Oh
helps
wow.
boost your immune system, helps target those cells in your body, doesn't isn't like a traditional chemo. It's administered
Mhm.
similar, like through a IV, or like I had a port administered through a
Right.
port, um, to do like chemo, but doesn't break down your cells. It actually helps your immune system kind of boost and target and do what it's supposed to be doing for this overgrowth of cells in your
Mhm.
body. And so that ultimately got me into remission. Ultimately,
Mhm.
I had a bone marrow transplant where I gave myself my own cells, and it didn't even work.
Mhm.
So all their research that they knew wasn't working. This new research, new kind of technology, you could say, that came in was working. And that ultimately,
Right.
after the bone marrow transplant, got me into remission. So then,
Oh, see.
fast forward 3 years, I get cancer again, and like it comes back the same way.
Mhm.
I had a lump in my neck. Right here, I had a lump in my neck. It was my lymph node. It was swollen. It was overgrowth of cells in my lymph nodes. And so
Mhm.
I go back. I get I so the doctor's like, okay, now we have to do another bone marrow transplant. But this time is different. You have a little bit of different options. In these 3 years, you can now do what's called a half match or a quarter match. And
Oh.
these matches weren't offered before. So to break it down for
Mhm.
people, basically when you're getting a bone marrow transplant, the blood the blood type, and the it's not even just the blood type, it's more than the blood type. But you have to get,
Right.
originally in that first transplant, I had to get an exact match, or I had to give myself my own cells. And luckily,
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
guess luckily, I didn't have cancer in the T cells in my bones, so I was able to qualify to give myself my own cells. And
Oh, cool.
like I said, it didn't even work. But fast forward, now I can do a half match. Now I could do a quarter match, because I don't know how I
Mhm.
would find. I'd never found an exact match.
Right.
I'm
That's
half Korean,
crazy.
half black, so I don't know whose blood would exactly match with mine. They put you in a
Right.
database, just like if you're trying to get like a kidney donor, or a lung
Mhm.
donor, or something like that, right? They put you in a donor database, and I never found an exact match. And it's actually kind of crazy, like side story. I had one of my guests, his name was Larry Betzel,
Mm-hmm.
and he found, and he's a black guy. We were in Atlanta at the time, but I believe he lived in South Carolina, and he
Mm-hmm.
found an exact match in Europe
Oh,
to do his
wow.
transplant. So like that's crazy. That's a whole nother
Right.
story. But
Right.
so I wasn't able to find an exact match ever in the database, but I could do a half or a quarter match. So that would be like my mom, my dad, my
Right.
sister, were those, and research now had shown
Wow.
that you could do those kind of matches and it didn't make a difference. There was still kind of like the same success rate. And so
Oh,
today
wow.
I live with my dad's cells in my body. They reproduce into my own cells. But my
Right.
dad was the half match and he donated his cells and helped me to get the
That
cells
is
I have now.
cool.
So that's like kind of special, honestly, too, and pretty cool
Yeah.
that that was able to happen, and just crazy like that technology, like it's always, the research is always going. They're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
the work. You know what I'm saying? Like there are
Oh,
people
yeah.
out there that care about humanity and are trying to navigate this healthcare system that we live in
Mm-hmm.
for profit and really try and help
Right.
people and really believe in
Yeah.
finding ways and research to help people. And again, who knows, how much it really is helping or how much, but I
Right.
am here today and it did work. And
See?
so I'm super thankful for that.
And see, reasons like that is why I always tell people to question your doctor, because look at how, in a matter of 3 years, you were able to do something that wasn't even offered to you before. That's how, that is how invasive research is nowadays. That 3 years later, you were actually able to do something that saved your life. So that's why I always recommend question your doctors, challenge everything. That
100%.
was a cool story.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
congratulations to you as well, beating cancer. Like
Thank
that
you.
is really such a big thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's funny you said you're graduating. When the same year I beat cancer the first time was the same year I graduated college with my bachelor's degree. And so it was like a
See?
big year. That's really cool that you're getting that done. So I want to bring up your family and friends and your support system. So you had said, you and your mom, we're kind of going through this. I know you mentioned your mom earlier. So
Mhm.
how did your family, your friends take all this information, take all this news of you getting cancer, and how were they able to support you and how did they show up for you during this whole journey?
So, one thing I will say is that cancer, like you said earlier, definitely showed me who wasn't there for me. I will absolutely say that. Like, when I got cancer, it literally kind of felt like, a lot of people was like, "Oh, peace out." Like, this is too much for me to deal with. And so it was it was me, my mother, my daughter, my sister, and my stepdad. And you know, um, they took it very hard. They did not take it good at all. In our family, I'm like the jack of all trades. I wear every hat. And so they look at me as like this superwoman. And when I got cancer, it was just like, okay, wait, like I'm confused. Like she's always okay. She always takes care of everybody. And now she can't do anything for herself. They were devastated. I was devastated and more so like embarrassed of the types of things because people think they're just like, oh, cancer, like you're weak, you lose your hair. But they don't understand the toll that it actually takes on the people that help you. And I mean that, for instance, like at the time, my daughter she was 15 at the time. And so I'm sitting here in bed, and my 15-year-old is giving me a bath in bed because I done soiled the sheets because I couldn't get out of bed. My 15-year-old, she's a gymnast, and she's having to help her, everybody thought I was dying at the time. So, she had to help her dying mother do stuff that she sees her mom do by herself all the time. And she's having to do this and then go to school and still go to gym and win medals at her competitions. My mom is having to take off of work to help whenever other people can't help. There were times when I had to crawl to the bathroom because I was so weak, and there was nobody home at the time because everybody's out doing things that I need. And so the toll it took on my support system was absolutely devastating. It made me at times be like I want to give up. And some I do remember a couple times that I told my family, I'm just like, listen, the chemo makes me so weak. After chemo, I would literally sleep for like 2, 3 days straight. I wouldn't get out of bed. I was just so weak I couldn't do anything. So there were times when I was just like, you know what? I'm giving up. Like I give up. Whatever happens, happens. And it was my support system that was like, no. They were like, it's not fair for us to have to lose you. Like it's not fair. Like if you don't want to fight for yourself, fight because we want you here. And so it's very important to have a support system. And this is why I always tell people, like I dedicated my TikTok to talking to cancer patients, motivating them, showing them the deepest parts of me where I was like at my lowest, showing them this so you could see like you're not alone. Like if you need to reach out to me and talk, I don't know how many conversations I've had with people who didn't have a support system, and I'm just like, no, like I'm going to be that for you. If you need to talk, like I'm here. And people would be surprised that they would call me or message me or anything, and I would sit there and have conversations with them because I understand how it is. I know how it is to get cancer and lose people that you thought would be there for life, people that you've helped before. You literally watch these people fade away and not care about you. And so I was forever grateful for the people that I had in my corner when I was going through the worst parts of my cancer. So yeah, it takes a toll. Yes, like we're the ones that deal with cancer. We're the ones that deal with chemo, but everybody that has to watch us go through that and not know if we're going to make it through, they're affected as well. And I think that that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot. Is another thing I'm actually going to share, which I wasn't going to share at first, but I think it could help somebody. My kids were very affected by it. My son at one point was talking about suicide because his friends were teasing him about his bald-headed mother. They didn't know that I was bald-headed because of cancer. All they knew is that your mom is bald-headed. And so everything affects you when it comes to cancer. It affects every part of your life, not just yourself. And so having a support system for your support system is also crucial. And yeah, I
Mm,
definitely think that's not talked about enough.
yes. Yes, that's and so I always say is all those people, all my friends, all my family that's sitting there watching me and that really care about me and that's there, they went through this with me. They went through it
Oh
too,
yeah.
you know? And that's crazy to hear like about your son. And I know like I could never imagine like being a parent and my kids got cancer, right? Again, I
Right.
was 19, so I couldn't imagine. I know my parents felt it crazy. I have a little sister, she's four
Hmm.
years younger than me, and I'm her older brother, like seeing me get cancer and she's so it's a lot of confusion. It's a lot like we were
Right.
saying earlier, a lot of unknown, and it's scary for those people that care about you the most. And
Right.
you know the support system is big, right? Because it and even now that we beat cancer, right? Everything we do is for the people that we care about, right? All the
Oh
things
yeah.
I do is for the people I care about. It's to make my parents proud, right? It's
Yeah.
to it's to lead by example and show a good example for my little sister, right? It's
Yeah.
to hold my friends accountable, right? It's it's to it's to show people that are watching me that I don't know to lead by example so that I'm a good example for them and their kids or the younger people, the younger generation that's watching me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's so everything we do is for the people that that we care about. Like I really do genuinely care about like humanity, like about people. You know what I'm saying?
I am so sorry.
Nah, it's all
I
good.
am so
It's all
sorry. 2 seconds. I apologize.
good.
Oh, I apologize.
Nah, it's all good. It's so good. Um, so yeah, man, like everything we do is for the people in our lives, right? And like one of my favorite
Yeah.
quotes, and I don't even know if it's a quote, but it's kind of like the idea, like
Mhm.
to be the most successful in life, right? You have to help the most people. You have to bring value to the most people. Like everything, we're all social beings, right? We're
Yeah.
social people. We all share the same earth, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all for the people. It's all about the people, right? And that support system is
Right.
extremely big. And I like what you said that like your support team needs a support team. And so like I always felt like that was on me, right? And so I always tried to
Right.
lead by example through whatever I was going through, but lead by example with my attitude. And it wasn't the best all the time. There was definitely times
Oh yeah.
when, and especially like the last transplant I had, there was times when I really heavily leaned on my support system because my mental was not in a good
Oh
spot.
yeah.
And everybody that knows me, like I'm super positive, I'm super optimistic, I got like high energy, but there was times when
Hmm.
I just was not, and I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it, right? And thank God I have a support system that was able to understand like, no, this is not him. This is not who he is. He's just
Right.
going through it, and could really like be so understanding. Like I can't thank my support system enough for being so
Oh yeah.
understanding in times when I was just really going through it, and I couldn't I couldn't imagine if I didn't have a support system. And
Oh yeah.
I really love what you said that you turned your TikTok into like a little support group kind of thing, because I know there's people out there that have no support system, that don't have
Oh yeah.
anybody to rely on, that don't have anybody that they can talk to. And that's another reason why I share these stories, these success stories, to bring motivation, to bring inspiration to people that they can show up for themselves in these tough
Right.
times, in any challenges, right? This doesn't just apply to just cancer, because there's people going through battles that are heavy on your mental because
Oh
their
yeah.
work life sucks. They hate their job, right? And they have to do it because they're by themselves and they got to survive, right? Or there's people that
Right.
are going through life and they hate their marriage, right? And they might not have an income, so they might not be the breadwinner, so they have to be in this marriage. Or there's
Right.
people in abusive relationships that feel like they have to be there and they don't have a support system. That person in their relationship is supposed to be that support and they don't have that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I know there's people out there that do not have that, and I'm always so grateful and thankful that I have that, and always
Yeah.
try to be that for anybody that I can be. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been taught to
Mm.
be respectful and nice to people, no matter who
Right.
you are, no matter what your background is, no matter the color of your skin, or where you come from, or how you talk,
Right.
right? Or how you do a certain thing. I just think everybody is different, right? People are weird, whatever you want to
Oh yeah.
call it, right? I'm sure I'm weird to a lot of
Right.
people in a lot of ways, right? Or
Right.
or strange, or however you want to call it. We're all our own people, and we all do things a certain ways based on how we were raised, the information we've taken in, all kinds of things that
Mm-hmm.
happen to us, and all that, right? And so like you can never
Mm-hmm.
judge a person because you never know what they're going through, you know? And
Yeah.
yeah, you don't never know what they're going through. If people looked at me a lot of the times while I had cancer, they would never know I had cancer.
Yeah.
When I tell them, like, yeah, I have cancer. I had chemo treatment this week or whatever. They'd be like, oh my God, you're going through cancer? You are, right? And so, right, you can't
Yeah.
judge a book by its cover. You don't know what anybody, and that's why you have to always be respectful and nice to people, just in general. Right, I
Yeah.
understand you getting disrespected, right? You should probably put your foot down. I'm not saying get walked over and just be
Right,
this
right.
happy-go-lucky nice person, right? That's a different situation. But like
Right.
in general, you should be nice to people, man. You should be a nice person, and that goes a long way. You know,
Oh God, yeah.
they say people don't remember what you necessarily said to them. They remember how you made them feel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And quick story on this, man. I have a buddy. I known him. I was just talking to him the other day. I was just texting him, and we was talking, and he was like, "Man, I kind of been going through some things." And I was like, "Man, you always got a friend in me. Like I'm your homie. Like you can always talk to me." And I'm giving him some suggestions on, and
Mm-hmm.
like we're just talking, and and I was like, "Yeah, you can always reach out to me if you ever need anything." He was like, "Yeah, I really appreciate it." And I brought up the story of when we met. When we met when I was a little kid in seventh grade, I moved from like one suburb to another. I moved to kind of like a different city, and I
Right.
didn't know it. I didn't know anybody. I was in a whole new school. I went to middle school for the first time. I had lockers, and I didn't know anybody. And my buddy, he was one of the first people. He was honestly the first person that like came up to me for no reason. He didn't know me. He had no reason. He didn't have to be nice to me. He was super nice to me, and he actually invited me over to his home. Mind you, we don't even know each other. So he invited me, like when we're in seventh grade, so like right, your parents drop you off and you go, and the parents meet the parents, right, and you guys like hang out,
Right.
and then you get picked up, and he invited me to come over and hang out with him at his house, right? And like I said, he
Mm-hmm.
didn't know me. He he didn't have any reason to try and get to know me really, and he didn't
Right.
have to be nice to me, but he did, right? And I never
Right.
forgot that, and I'll always
See?
remember how he made me feel. Like he made me feel
Right.
welcome and like I was his friend. And it was super
Right.
cool. And he was super nice. And to this day, we're still friends. We're still homies.
Right.
And he was like, "Man, I'm really happy that you still remember that." I was like, "Man, how could I forget that?" You know what I'm saying? Like you made me
Right.
feel in a place where I was uncomfortable. It was a lot of unknown. I didn't know none of these people. You was like, "Nah, bro, you're cool. You could come hang out with me." You
Right.
know? And so I'll never forget that. But that's an example. Like I don't even
Yeah.
remember how he approached me or how that even all came about. All I remember was we ended up hanging out. I was over at his crib, and we've been cool ever since. And we didn't even we like we kind of lost touch a little bit, like as we got older, because we went to different high schools, and then like
Right.
my senior year of high school, I moved to Las Vegas, and he's still living in Oregon. And then
Mm-hmm.
like right, he went to college, and so right, we
Right.
never since middle school really been in the same area, and since
Right.
those first couple years of high school, been in the same area, and we're not always like the closest of friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's still always a good friend of mine that I can always
Right.
call or text and talk to. I remember one time, sorry, I'm just going on a rant about my friend and
No,
about how
no,
he
you're
made me feel.
fine. Go
one time,
ahead.
one time I was in New York and I was just over there for a layover, and I was like, "Yo, what's good? I have a layover for a couple hours. Like, let's link up." And we linked up just for those couple hours. I don't know how many of my friends would just like take the time out of the day just randomly and just link up with me on a
Right.
whim because I had a layover and be cool with me. So
See?
yeah, and that's just what I say. Tell all those stories about my boy is right. You don't remember what people said, man. You remember how they made you feel, and that's like
Yeah.
extremely important when you're dealing with people. You're dealing with people every day. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So yeah, so I'm glad we're both here. I'm glad that we
Yeah.
got through everything that we've got through. I'm gonna wrap this up here because I went on a
Okay.
rant. We're kind of running out of time. So the last question I want to ask you is, what is the best advice that somebody has ever given to you in your life?
The best advice that anybody ever gave me is if you're going to do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself.
And I say that because I know that I'm a people pleaser. And sometimes I put myself on the back burner for others. And people don't always have your best interests at heart, no matter what it is that they vocally tell you. People don't always have your best interests. So instead of doing stuff for people or for the acceptance of people or for anything else, do it for yourself. Show up for yourself. Bet on yourself. Because in the end, you're always going to be the one standing there looking at yourself in the mirror. So if you're going to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that, and like you said, I do
Yeah.
and have in a lot of ways been a people pleaser in my life because I'm a really nice
Right.
person, you know, and I want the best for people, you know, and I like to give and I care about people,
Exactly.
and I got to a point where I don't give people second chances. I believe people to be who
hmm
they show me they are, you know, and that took a lot of time for me to grow up and really understand that concept of like people are who they say they are, and people are, you
Right.
know, like it's kind of like the concept like how you do one thing is how you do all things. You know what I'm saying? And my grandpa explained. My grandpa explained it like this. He said, "Son," he said, "a squirrel is going to do squirrel things. You can believe and expect a squirrel to act like a squirrel. You can believe in and and expect a bird to act like a bird. A thief, you can believe he gonna be a thief. You know what I'm saying? A liar, you can believe
Right.
he gonna be a liar. It's very
Don't
clear,
lie.
and and they gonna be who they show you they are. That is who they are.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of maturity and a lot of time and a lot of growing up for me to not give people second,
hmm
third, fourth chances to really understand that
Yeah.
concept of people are who they say they are. And
Oh yeah.
you, because like a lot of times, like I used to put my expectations on other people, right?
Right.
And right, I would think, oh, I see this person and they're super smart and they have all this potential. Oh, if I was you, you would do XYZ, right? And then
Right.
I end up wanting XYZ more than they wanted. You know what I'm
Then they do.
saying?
Exactly.
And then that's a whole problem. That's a whole problem. That's not even what they want. That's not even what they trying to
Right.
do. It's just me putting and pouring my expectations on them, and that's not right for them either.
Yeah. Wanting better for them.
Yeah. And so yeah, I totally agree. Do it for you. I love that. I really love that. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thank you so much, Miss Alicia, for coming on and sharing your
Thank you
story.
for having
Going through
me.
cancer, you're amazing. You're a miracle. You the jack of all trades. You
Thank
really
you.
are. You still are.
Thank you.
So before we get out of here, everybody, make sure you go and follow the podcast on all social media platforms, Beast vs. Zombie,
Yes.
Spotify, YouTube, so you can see the full videos like this. Stay up to date on new episodes that come out every other week. Go check out the website, Beast vs.
Mhm.
Zombie. You can get all the merchandise, all proceeds, all the profits. They go to cancer research. So check that out. Make sure you guys have a good weekend, you
Yes.
guys. Be a beast.